known about Quad Cortex and Neural DSP for several years now, like I'm sure you guys have, but I never really considered the Quad Cortex as like a piece of equipment for acoustic guitarists, right up until I learned that Andy McKee had one. And I was like, oh, an acoustic guitarist with a Quad Cortex. Interesting. I'm curious how he uses it. And then March of this year rolls along, and I get the opportunity to open a show for Andy McKee. Yeah, I'll let him show you some footage from that.
All right, up at Jimmy's Jazz, I got Mr. Tom Anello open up the show with a few tunes tonight. Here he is. Doing some sound check. Oof. Sounding good. I met Tom on Instagram, and he was at my show here last year. And I said, man, come up and play a few tunes tonight. And here we go.
And don't mind me, just a quick plug. I want you to know that I have a Patreon where I post behind the scenes stuff and a lot of tutorials for my playing. And I also stream on twitch.tv/TomInBoston 3 mornings a week. So come find me if that's your place. So at the show, Andy was playing all 3 of his guitars, a standard guitar, baritone guitar, and harp guitar through Quad Cortex. And because my set was so short, I asked him if I could just play through his Quad Cortex for my songs. And he kindly agreed. So during soundcheck, I was playing through his Quad Cortex, and I was totally amazed by the sound that was coming through the monitors and in the house, especially during Andy's sound check. And of course, the venue we were playing at had really great sound engineers, and they did a wonderful job for the night. But it got me kind of thinking about Quad Cortex. So I decided to pick one up, and here it is. I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and I've been spending a lot of time trying to tweak my acoustic tone with this. Now, if you'd seen my last video where I was sort of talking about how I achieve my recorded sound for YouTube, you might know that I normally use a tiny little pedal board with an EQ pedal, a compressor, a Boss OC5, and pedal reverb from Fishman. And then I feed that into a Fishman Loudbox amplifier, and then I use the DI out and go right into my interface. And I would combine that with actually this condenser microphone right here. Big part of the reason why I wanted to get one of these was to have all of my sounds in a box and use a lot less equipment, and importantly, create a stereo image using just one device. And that's what you heard at the beginning of the video. And while I still have a lot to learn about how Quad Cortex interacts with acoustic guitar, and specifically the dual source Fishman pickups I use on all of my acoustics, right now I'm very pleased with the incredibly clean sound I'm getting. I also like that I can create a bunch of presets for each one of my guitars because they all have a different voice, and my dual source pickups are a magnet and a microphone, and that microphone signal is going to sound different on every single guitar just because of the way acoustic guitars are. That microphone is trying to pick up the sound of the guitar, so in all of the recording I've done in the past, each one of my guitars gets a different treatment in my DAW, and instead of having to do that in my DAW now, I can have presets that I can change on the fly when I switch instruments, and I don't have to worry about making big changes in my DAW to accommodate the mic sound from the pickup. So the way I'm using Quad Cortex right now is kind of like I said earlier. I'm creating a stereo image. I'm splitting up using a TRS splitter cable. I'm splitting up my dual source pickup so that I can have sounds on the left and right, and more importantly, so that I can give each of those signals individual treatment. So my signal chains right now are pretty simple. EQ, compression, and a reverb I found that I liked. In addition to my 2 lanes for my magnet and microphone, I have a 3rd lane set up that is meant to emulate the sounds that a Boss OC5 can give a guitar. So normally I would use the Boss OC5 to add a bit of low end to what would end up being the lowest pitches I play on the guitar. Roots and such, right? The bottoms of chords. And I do that because I'm trying to broaden the sound of the acoustic guitar, because in my case, the acoustic guitar is the whole band. So I want to make my sound as wide and as tall and as deep as possible, and the OC5 helps with that. But rather than using the OC5 with Quad Cortex, I found an amazing tutorial by an incredible fingerstyle guitarist whose name is Petteri Sariola, and he found a way to sort of emulate the tone of the OC5 in Quad Cortex. So that's mono in my preset, and I've configured the QC so that I can turn it off when I want to play something that's maybe a little bit more gentle. Yeah, so it's a pretty sweet piece of gear and not one that I ever expected to be using for acoustic guitar, but frankly, I'm pretty blown away by it. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what I've been up to lately with Quad Cortex. I've got some other really fun stuff coming up. I have a 7-string acoustic guitar that's just about finished being built. I'm gonna get a pickup installed in that thing and we're gonna run it through this and see what happens. I'm pretty stoked about it. Before we go, I'm gonna play one more song for you on standard guitar, something pretty different that doesn't have percussion so you can hear what it's like in a gentler setting. If you love acoustic guitar as much as I do and you like fingerstyle guitar stuff, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm looking forward to filming some more cool stuff for you guys. Thanks for watching.